All right, everybody. How y'all feeling today, this late Saturday night? How are you coping 14 and a half hours before the game of the year? The game that will probably decide everything for your 2017 Seattle Seahawks. You feeling good? You feeling great? You feeling okay? You feeling bad? I can't imagine anybody feeling great about this one. What's going on, guys? A little bit later in the week than I usually like to make my video, but there's definitely been that little part of me that as I think about this game, as I think about where this season is headed, I can't help it. I feel a little sense of dread because this team that has worked so hard this offseason, that worked so hard in the draft, that tried so hard to improve themselves as much as they could, it could all come crashing down tomorrow. Or it could launch us to bigger and better things. Obviously, either thing can happen, but if you know this team, you know that tomorrow is going to be a real challenge and it can go either way. And losing tomorrow, you can pretty much, I don't want to say cancel it, but you're going to need some things to go your way in the last couple weeks. So tomorrow's a playoff game. And if you win it, the next two games are probably playoff games too. So, the Rams, a team that has been a pain in the ass for several years now. We beat them earlier this year in Los Angeles. It felt good. It was a good win. The team has obviously grown since then, but they've also regressed in some areas. So, there are a lot of things to be concerned about tomorrow. Obviously, the number one thing heading into tomorrow's game, what are we doing on defense? That is the first, second, and third thing that, as a Seahawks fan, I am terrified of. And as Seahawks fans, you guys are probably terrified of as well. Um, let's start. Let's start in the trenches. We don't know where our defensive line is right now. We know we're not going to have Nazir Jones, which sucks, but you can survive that. But I'm more thinking about how the defensive line played the last time they were on the field against Jacksonville. It was bad. They did not touch Blake Bortles that whole frickin' game. They got no pressure. And I guarantee you, if they don't get pressure tomorrow on Jared Goff, if they don't blow off blockers and penetrate on, running plays and passing plays, if they don't play well the whole game, that Rams team is going to run up some digits because it gets better, guys. We don't know what we have at linebacker right now either. KJ Wright probably not going to play tomorrow. He's doubtful. I'm not counting on him at all. Bobby Wagner, he's going to try to go, but he's clearly not 100%. And if it affects his play at all, that is a recipe for disaster. We saw how bad the linebacker play was when we lost Wright and Wagner last week. Those guys behind them, they're not ready for the big time yet. I'm sorry, Will Hoyt, Garvin, whoever it is that we put out there behind them, they can't do it the way that probably the best defensive player in football so far this year has done it. So we don't know what we have there. Hopefully we just have Wagner playing well, and hopefully that's enough. But I'll tell you guys, if we don't have Wagner out there, or if Wagner's out there and he's sucking, Todd Gurley's going to run a freight train on us. Sorry, it's the truth. Our defensive line, it's already been a little more questionable than I was hoping it was going to be this year. I thought it was going to be more than it is. Obviously, you're missing a guy, but even with that, the defensive line should be playing much better than it is. If you don't have your linebackers either, that's a recipe for absolute disaster against a guy like Todd Gurley. So you have that, and then you have our secondary, which, look, it is what it is. Byron Maxwell, he's going to make some good plays, but he's going to get beat a few times a game. He just doesn't have the speed to not get burned from time to time over the course of a 60-minute game. Shaquille Griffin playing great, but he's going to make rookie mistakes every now and then. He's going to play like a rookie every now and then because he is. Bradley McDougald playing very well at strong safety for us. He's not Cam Chancellor. And there is a bit of a drop-off there. Just is what it is. So that's the whole defense, guys. I don't know what I have on my defensive line right now. I'm doubting those guys just a little bit. Linebacker, we don't know who we have out there because of injuries. Secondary, injuries, same thing. That's your defense, and we're playing one of the best offenses in football. Jared Goff putting up a great season. Todd Gurley putting up a great season. Well, okay, good. Yards per carry is not great, but we'll call it good. So that whole defense needs to feed off the crowd. We need the defensive line to show up like they haven't showed up all season. We need them better than they were against Philadelphia. Better. I absolutely believe that because they don't have anything backing them up right now, maybe. They don't have the linebackers and secondary that they're used to having. We need a huge game from Clark, Bennett, Reed, Richardson, all them boys. Or else I don't see how we can win this game. So that's your defense. Obviously, we don't really know what's going on special teams. From week to week, it's completely random what we get. Sometimes we get, Atlanta, where the kick returns are great, but the field goal unit screws up twice. Sometimes we get, last week where we miss a chip shot field goal. Sometimes you get the Rams game earlier this year where we made 3 long field goals and, our punter's better. It's very random. So, knowing all that, what I know about tomorrow is this is the moment where Russell Wilson can truly become an MVP. I complain about Russell sometimes, but I'm glad I have him to complain about because he's so much better than most of the quarterbacks in this league. Tomorrow's a day to prove it. Tomorrow is not a day where I want to be coming on after the game tomorrow with anything to complain about because he needs to be special tomorrow because the Rams are going to score. Let's accept that, guys. This defense in its current state is not shutting this Rams team down, and if they do, it's a damn miracle. So, knowing that, we need a quarterback, we need an offensive line, we need receivers, we need running backs, whoever that may be. We need that all to work, and we need it to work for 60 minutes because Rams defense is good, but you can move on them. You can score on them. The Eagles did it no problem. We had decent success against them earlier this year. The Cowboys had a good first half against them. It's a good defense. It has holes. Teams have been able to run on them a little bit this year. Their secondary just lost one of their cornerbacks, Kayvon Webster, their only injury of significance right now. So that side of the ball has to be great. This is one of those times where we may need our offense to carry our defense because I cannot imagine winning this game with less than 24 points from the offense. So Russell needs to be sharp for 60 minutes. If not, then everything we've done so far this season, all the good stuff we've seen, beating the Eagles, beating the Rams earlier this year, winning that Texans game, all the good stuff we've seen will all go to waste because you're putting yourself way behind the 8 ball if you lose this game. So if we lose tomorrow, which won't shock me, although I do think we're going to win, I don't want it to be because Russell Wilson threw some picks and made some bad plays and made some bad decisions. He is not the guy that I want to get on here and blame if we lose. Let it be, Byron Maxwell. Let it be Shaquille Griffin. Let it be Will Hoyt or Garvin. Somebody who I understand is a flawed player. Don't let it be my franchise quarterback. Let me blame somebody else if it comes to that. So I need sharpness from him. I need a good game from the offensive line. This is a big test for these guys. Dwayne Brown, Luke Jokel, back from injury, obviously, Fetty. It's going to be a tough game for these guys. They're going up against big, big challenges on that Rams defensive line. Other than that, if we get an opportunity to force a turnover, can we please take it It's going to be so hard to get this Rams team off the field. Let's take a couple extra defensive stops if we can get it. And, well, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. And, 18 hours from now, we're going to have a much better idea of where this team stands. So, go Hawks. And season comes down to this moment, probably.